All right, hey. What's happening, everybody? Mock Draft 4.0. Kick off a free agency. We might as well get one in. A lot's changed today, and highly doubtful that I'm going to be able to keep up with it all. It's going to take a little bit of work. As it always does. After the first couple of days of free agency, man, everything has changed. Draft has changed. Everything's changed. Including my flow. My flow's changed. You know, my old flux capacitor flow, I guess is what we're going to call it, right? Make sure I write that down. All right. All right, I'm just kidding. All right, let's do this, y'all. What happened today? Well, what didn't happen? I can tell you what didn't happen. I can tell you that so far Brad Holmes has done not a whole lot. Didn't expect it. Last year's pretty much the same thing. Does that affect the Lions free agency? Nah. I don't think so. Not yet. Let's see if this site will actually work now. A little bit later in the day, man. Spotrac was getting killed today. All right, so. Wow, a lot of moves today. A lot of moves today. Holy cow. Is that what I'm reading? That there's 47? No, there's more than that. 49 moves? 49 signings today? Wow. Over $1.55 billion spent today. $1.55 billion spent today in the NFL. It's a lot of change. That's a lot of change. Oh, Bears are already in cap purgatory. They are every year. Every freaking year. At least it seems that way. They spend a ton of money. A ton of money. You got to, build your team the old-fashioned way like Brad Holmes. Or you can buy your team. And apparently the Bears are considering buying their team as the only way to go. Okay. Let me just do a quick little bit of housekeeping here and try to get myself set up. I can just go right down the list here. We'll do the Titans. Let's do the Titans first. So it looks like they've got Sebastian Joseph, Harold Landry, and Dan Moore today. And well, Harold Landry went from Tennessee to New England. Sebastian went from Tennessee to Tennessee. Dan Moore went from Pittsburgh to Tennessee. Is that all that Tennessee did today? Could have sworn they did more than that. This can't be correct. Is it? No, that can't be correct. This can't be correct. What is this? Why is this giving me this garbage here? It's not even the same look from earlier. All right, just give me 1 second here and we'll get rolling. I swear this is not the same look. Like, what in the world? Am I just looking up the wrong site for like? Let me go back a little bit. We were on last. Here we go. Okay, now I've got the right one in. Last deal that I see was Malcolm Kuntz. 1 year, $12 million to Las Vegas. That was the final deal of the day. Excuse me, so far. And not 47 moves. 253. 253 moves today. Transactions. All right, let's just get into it. Here we go. Let's move some screens around. Let's get into the mock draft. We're going to have a little bit of some changing, I think, at the front of this draft. Not much, but we'll have a little bit. Here's what I'm thinking, and I'm going to have to write this stuff down as we go, too, because I don't want to forget what I'm saying. I don't want to have to go back and listen to it. So for the Browns, even though they're not picking first, I think didn't they just pick up a quarterback? So this mock draft's going to be a little bit slower. It might be a little bit longer than an hour, but it won't be too bad. So Myles Garrett obviously signed or will sign his 4-year extension. Deshaun Watson converted a bunch of money into signing bonus. Obviously, that'll add some money. That created $35.7 million in cap space. But why don't I thought the Browns just got a quarterback? Did they not? Am I imagining things? Didn't they get Kenny Pickett? Yeah, Pickett. There it is. Pickett. I know they got Pickett, but why is it not showing up? It's not showing up in NFL transactions yet under the Browns. I mean, I understand it can't be done yet, but it's a trade. Of course it could be done. Yeah, it's not showing up at all. All right, we're just going to roll with it, though. So they brought in a QB. And so I think that this changes things at the beginning of this draft. Now, they gave away... I don't think they gave away a whole lot. They got a 5th round. They gave up a 5th round pick, which was originally the Lions pick. And Dorian Thompson-Robinson... And the Browns got Kenny Pickett. I mean, I don't remember what the Eagles traded, how much they paid for Pickett, but that's a pretty good deal. So I think that the Browns are definitely going to be in a situation now where they can definitely go Abdul Carter still. But with the whole, why am I tucked behind this thing? With the whole Myles Garrett thing, it just makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if, in fact, the Browns are not going to go a different direction. And the only reason why I say that is because they don't have to go. I mean, they would be stupid not to, but you don't have to go defensive end. You don't have to go corner. I can't even highlight this thing and move it. What is wrong with this stuff today? My goodness. Okay, we'll just leave it all alone. It is what it is. You're not going to be able to see the pick number 1 there. So this first draft that I just loaded, I just went ahead and selected the Lions only just to see what was going to change in this draft. And it went Travis Hunter number 1, Abdul Carter 2, obviously Cam Ward, you can see it. Justin Genty at number 4 is crazy. Let me redo this and change some settings. I just wanted to roll through 1 or 2 of these and see what what the public's thinking and roll with it. So we'll just do we'll put 2 rounds. We'll just do the first round. Okay, so Travis Hunter 1, Mason Graham number 2, Abdul Carter number 3, McMillan number 4, Genty still at number 5, Cam Ward at 6. Where the hell is Shedeur Sanders? Wow. Nobody picked up Shedeur Sanders? That's not going to happen. And I can't believe Will Campbell's still in the top 10. I like where Donovan Ezeraku is, and I like where Shamar Stewart is, but at the same time, I don't. Because those are 2 players that I would like to see somehow get to the Lions at 28 if the Lions don't move up, which I'm assuming they're probably going to move back, which is really going to piss off some fans. And it's quite all right. I think that Brad Holmes is making some significantly good moves right now. He's being smart. He's not overextending the team. And he's building for the future. So, all right, I got a good idea here of what people are thinking. It's totally opposite of what I'm thinking is going to happen after just day 1. So let's do one quick one here without any trades. Titans. So Titans today. Let's see what they did one more time. They got Sebastian Joseph Day, defensive tackle. Harold Landry's gone. Morgan Cox, who cares? Long snapper, signed an extension. And their left tackle, Dan Moore, signed a 4-year, $82 million deal. So they secured their left tackle, so they definitely don't need a tackle. They secured a defensive tackle, which he's not your overall starter, right? He's not your number 1. Obviously, Tennessee needs a quarterback, which I don't think that they're going to take. I believe that they still have a couple quarterbacks on the roster, including Levis and Mason Rudolph. Calvin Ridley. They definitely need a wide receiver. They got Trevonde Sweat last year. Jeffrey Simmons is solid. Arden Key is good. So they're pretty good on the defensive line. They could use a defensive tackle and really shore up that defensive front. Chibodi Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed. I mean, how could you ask for anything better than that? They still show Quandre Diggs on this roster. I think that they need a safety, but you can get a safety a little bit later. So I guess for the Titans, taking a quarterback I think would be dumb. They can roll this year with Will Levis. They can also come back into the second or into the first round and grab somebody if they really wanted to. So I'm going to stick to my guns on this one. I think that no prep in this one, guys. This is all off the hip right now, just based on what happened today. I think that the Titans would be stupid to pass up. Like, taking Travis Hunter doesn't make sense with Awuzie and L'Jarius Sneed. It just doesn't make sense. You're going to take one of your 2 starters that you paid through the nose through last season. You're going to bench them. You're going to make him fight it out with Travis Hunter. That just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they would do that. And I don't think that Sneed or Awuzie could play safety. And they already have a nickel in Roger McCreary. So I think this one's simple. Like, they're going to pass on Hunter, and they're either going to take Abdul Carter or they're trading out of this pick. I think they're taking Carter. That's my pick. Yeah, I don't think the Titans are going to call us about Hooker necessarily, but I mean, anything can happen. As we saw today, anything can happen. All right, so for the Browns, with Abdul Carter off the books, I think that this makes a great opportunity for them to take Travis Hunter. Obviously, I'm still in the boat that I think that the Browns are going to want to move back. If they're allowing Myles Garrett to have any influence over this at all, which probably isn't happening, I bet you he'd tell him to move back. Like, get off of this pick and stack us some draft picks here. They don't have money. It would be wise to stack some picks here. I think that the Giants, the Raiders, I mean, they could definitely just bump up a couple of spots. Wouldn't cost them a whole lot, and I think it'd be wise. But I think that the Browns are going to take Travis Hunter. It gets him a two-way player. It gets him a corner that they need. He's obviously the best athlete in the draft. It's not the sexiest pick in the world. They also need a tackle. You could see him take a tackle, and I don't think it would be Will Campbell. I think that the first tackle off the board right now is more than likely going to be Josh Simmons. I just think it's a little early at number 2. I think Travis Hunter right now to the Browns makes sense. But if anything, I think the Browns trade back. And yes, I do believe it's too rich for the Lions to move up that early. And they wouldn't need to anyway. There's nobody they need at number 2. Especially with bringing in DJ Reed today. Okay, New York Giants. Take a look at their history today. And today was nuts. I haven't seen a free agency like this in a while. So they still have Darius Slayton. They signed him to a $12 million a year deal. Roy Robertson Harris, he signed a 2-year, $9 million deal. Paulson Adebo got a 3-year, $54. Man, did he get rich today. They brought in a punter. They brought in, a half-ass tight end and Chris Menertz. Another long snapper. Montrell Washington signed a reserve futures contract way back in February. So just today alone, it was Paulson Adebo, Roy Robertson Harris, and Darius Slayton. So wide receiver, defensive tackle, and corner, which helps them out because they needed all of that. So I think that the New York Football Giants are on the clock with a quarterback on their mind or a tackle. And I'm gonna go tackle, I think, only because are they super impressed with Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders to take him at number 3? Probably Cam Ward. And oh man. I just think the Giants are going to sign a different quarterback. And I don't think that they're going to take a quarterback early. They currently have Drew Lock and Tommy DeVito, Tim Boyle. They need a quarterback. All right, I'll stick with it. Cam Ward. Big Papa says, don't expect Kirby will be on the roster next year. What are you hearing? Are you thinking next year like 26, or are you thinking next year 25? It's kind of weird when we say next year when the season starts next year when it's really this year until Wednesday. Wednesday's the new league year. What are we talking about, J-Rod? What is going on in there? Music? What are you guys talking about? Okay. New England. Man, New England had a good day. It really did. Lot of action here today. The most of anybody. They kicked off the day with Robert Spillane. But before that, yesterday, they locked up Harold Landry, Austin Hooper, and then kicked off today with another outside linebacker with Robert Spillane. Great pickup. So they spent $76.5 million over the next 3 seasons on 2 outside linebackers. That's the kind of work I was hoping Brad was going to do today, was get us an outside linebacker, not named Derek Barnes. We need someone. They also brought in Carlton Davis, 3 years, $60 million. Morgan Moses on a $24 million deal, right tackle. They brought in Milton Williams, defensive end at 4 years, $104 million. Another defensive tackle with Kiris Tonga. And then Mac Hollins. I mean, I get it. Look, everyone's saying, how in the hell can these teams spend this kind of money? Right? And I get it. Where did New England start? What do they have today? What did they start with? They started with a ton. They had $122.4 million in cap space. More than double, almost triple what the Lions started with. The Lions start with about $52 million. That's how they can get it done. Because these first year contracts, they're the bonus money split over, as many years that's in their deal, plus a couple void years. That's how they can do it. Now, they added some pretty damn good ball players. Pretty much what the Patriots did is they set themselves up to be able to do whatever they want to do in this draft. They took care of a receiver. They got their defensive line straightened around. They got a corner of the future. The middle of their defense is good. The Patriots can do whatever they want. I think that the only major need for them this early in the draft. So they got Jacqueline Raw last year. They just backed him up with Tonga. Milton Williams starting as a left defensive end. Christian Barmore as the right defensive end. Robert Spillane right inside. And Harold Landry will be the strong side. Christian Gonzalez, Jabril Peppers. Man, they're looking good. They still have Jelani Tavai. I would say that they probably need a little bit more help on the offensive side of the football. I mean, I think that's what makes the most sense here, is the offensive side of the football for them. It could be a quarterback. It absolutely could be. It could be a tackle to protect their quarterback of the future. And I think that is where I'm going to go, because they're definitely going trenches right now. And their offensive line is horrendous. Outside of Mike Onwenu, I'm not so sure that anyone else on that offensive line is really that great. Yeah, they got Mac Hollins today, Nick. Mac Hollins. So they got a receiver. He's not, he's not a number one by any means. They could go McMillan this early. You could see McMillan, off the board right here. I don't think Will Campbell is the first. I don't think that he's going to be the first tackle off the board. I think they need help on the left side. And that could be either Armand Membu or it could be Josh Simmons. And I'm going to go ahead and just say Armand Membu becomes a Patriot. All right, for the Jags, one of the biggest risers, obviously, in this draft has been Armand Membu. Looking at their depth chart, they're good at quarterback. They could use a running back. I mean, they still have Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby. So running back would be like 4th on the list. They have Brian Thomas Jr. and Gabe Davis. They got Diami Brown, who they brought in today, I believe. Almost positive they brought him in today. Maybe not. Yeah, they did. But they brought in Eric Murray. They brought in a safety. They brought in Nick Mullins, a quarterback, backup. Jordan Lewis, cornerback. Johnny Munt and Hunter Long, both tight ends. Diami Brown, wide receiver. A guard and a center. But nobody really got a huge deal. Pretty much everyone got $10 million deals or less. So these are not, big time game changers, but still pretty solid football players. Yeah, I don't think that the Jags are going to make a mistake here. I think that they're going to probably not opt for a center or a guard, seeing how they just brought one in. I think it's going to be defensive line or corner. And if it were me and Mason Graham is still on this board, you can't walk away from that. That would just be idiotic. Okay. Raiders. I don't even know how we're to the Raiders, and we've only had one quarterback off the board. Remember, no trades today. So you absolutely have to take Shedeur Sanders. I think it's the right fit for them. I can't imagine that they're going to pass it up. Did the Raiders bring in a quarterback today? Find out. They got Malcolm Kuntz, so they got good at the defensive end. They locked up a good safety. They got a halfway decent rotational defensive tackle. Yeah, they did. They brought in Geno Smith, so they are not bringing in a quarterback with their first pick. They locked up Max Crosby, Alex Kappa, their other guard. So defensive end, safety, defensive tackle. Yeah, they're solid there in the defensive line. They're also solid at quarterback for right now. Man, where are they thin? Where are the Raiders thin? Nick Scorton to the Lions, says J-Rod. Quarterback isn't off the table for Vegas. Yeah, I don't say it's off the table, but I mean, if you brought in Geno, why would you bring in another quarterback right now? That to me tells me they're going to limp through this year. And I mean, they got Smith, Minshew, O'Connell, and Ritter. I thought Minshew was released. Did they pick him up this week? I don't think so. They have Crosby, Jenkins, Christian Wilkins, Malcolm Kuntz. My goodness. Luke Masterson, Jack Jones, Jeremy Chin. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and say they need a corner. And they do need a corner. Badly. I'm going to go ahead and lock him up a corner. And his name is J.D. or Jade Barron, wherever he is. I don't know how you walk away from Jahad Campbell right here, but it's probably going to happen. I think Barron becomes a Raider. I think they pass on a quarterback. Now we get to the Jets. They need a quarterback. Let's see what they did today. New York Jets. They made a few moves today. They brought in a corner, Brandon Stevens. Of course, we took DJ Reed from them. Justin Fields was signed, so they do have a quarterback that can play this year. They re-signed Jamie Sherwood, and then they brought in Devontae Adams. So they don't need a wide receiver. They have a quarterback, and their linebacker room is pretty decent. And then their corners, they could probably use a little bit of help, especially after losing DJ Reed. They have Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Tyler Conklin at tight end. Tyron Smith is the left tackle, which he's not terrible. Joe Tippmann from last year, one of my favorite centers out of the draft. The right guard, Elijah Vera Tucker, I'm not so sure on him. And then Carter Warren, I'm not so sure on him either. At right tackle. So their right tackle, Carter Warren. Man, nothing wants to work today. This is nuts. You can't open anything. He had a terrible year. Terrible year last year. Didn't allow a bunch of sacks, but he only played in 141 snaps. This guy's definitely not a starter. So left tackle is what it's looking like. I'm not high on Will Campbell because of the arms, especially at tackle. I think they're going to take Josh Simmons. Yep, Shedeur Sanders slips. There could be another DB in play. There could be a linebacker in play here. But now we're going to move on to the Panthers. You could probably have seen the Jets take a... I'm sorry, I said that they brought in Devontae Adams. No, Devontae Adams was released. My bad. They brought in Justin Fields. They could use a wide receiver because Devontae Adams is gone. If you can't tell, I'm exhausted. I'm absolutely exhausted. All right, Panthers. Panthers. Where are you on the list? Why am I not finding you? What the F? There we go. Okay, so they brought in Bobby Brown, defensive tackle. Michael Jackson, corner. Deshaun Wharton, defensive tackle. Patrick Jones, outside linebacker. Those are both really good. They locked up J.C. Horn. Tommy Tremble, tight end, they brought in the other day. Austin Corbett, center. And Cade Mays, a guard, they brought in on the 7th. So they're good at guard and center. Defensive tackle, they've already added 2. Cornerbacks, they've already added 2. I think that this makes a lot of sense for an edge rusher going to the Panthers. Man, they got old Ashawn Robinson out there at left end. Really? Derek Brown on the other side. DJ Wonham as linebacker. Shaq Thompson. Josie Jewell. Jadeveon Clowney. Yeah, I think that they're going to go ahead and take either a linebacker or I think that they're probably going to take someone on the defensive line. So if I were the Panthers right now looking at this, obviously, I mean, I could take a receiver, don't need one. Ashton Genty, who wouldn't love to have Ashton Genty over top of Chuba Hubbard and Jonathan Brooks and Miles Sanders? I think that would be a phenomenal pick for them. They do need another wide receiver. They do need a real tight end. And they do need... I mean, they can get through with what they have in the linebacker room. They definitely can get through with what they have on the defensive line. Yeah, Jordan Fuller, Travion Morig, J.C. Horn. Back end's pretty good. All right, so my pick for them is going to be... going to be, let's give him a wide receiver, I think. They've got Adam Thielen. He's old as dirt. Xavier Legette last year didn't really turn on a whole lot. They got Jalen Coker. I'm not so sure about him. Devin Tompkins, average. I think wide receiver makes a big play here. It's either going to be Mr. Tetria McMillan or somebody else. We're going to go McMillan here. Saints. I don't remember hearing a whole lot about the Saints today. They brought in Nathan Shepard. Let me get this in front of me. I keep cranking my head to the left. Devon Goshaw, defensive tackle. That's a good pickup. You still have Derek Carr. Yeah, they didn't do a whole lot today. So they tried to address defensive tackle in free agency today. And that's not working out for him, is it? I can't remember if the Saints have any money. I don't think they have a whole lot of money. Still have Elvin Kamara and Kendre Miller for running backs. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Marquez Valdez Scantling, Juwan Johnson. They definitely need a tight end here. You got Talise Fuaga from last year as a left tackle. Cesar Ruiz, he's not a bad right guard. Trevor Penning, not so sure on him. I almost think you have to go defensive line here if you are the Saints. I think their line outside of Carl Granderson, Pete Werner's okay. Willie Gay's pretty good. Their strong safety and Will Harris is trash. So I guess I could see him doing it either way here. Defensive line or a safety. Too early for a safety, maybe. I could see him go defensive line here. Let me look at their linebackers one more time. Pete Werner, Demario Davis, Nephi Sewell, Willie Gay. All right, I think that we're going to go ahead and take a linebacker here. We'll get him set up with James Pierce. All right, Bears, man, they've been all over the place today. They've had a really good day. Really good week. I'm not so sure that it's going to amount to anything, but man, did they have a lot of action today. 1, 2, 3, 4. They brought in Drew Dahlman, center, on a $42 million deal. They brought in Deo Ode Ingbo, defensive end, on a $48 million deal. Grady Jarrett, defensive tackle, on a $43.5 million deal. And then safety, Tarvarius Moore, on a 1-year prove-it deal. Now, the Bears could use a running back, a center, a guard, and an edge rusher. When you take a look at their depth chart, I would say they're good at receiver. They're good at tight end. Joe Tooney and Braxton Jones, and I guess Jonah Jackson, those are your starters. I think their right tackle, Darnell Wright, might be the weakest link on the offensive line. But I wouldn't say they necessarily need to do anything with it right today. Montez Sweat on the defense, Andrew Billings, Grady Jarrett, Deo Edo Obwingo, TJ Edwards at linebacker, Tremaine Edmonds at linebacker, Jack Sanborn at linebacker, and then, oh, by the way, Jalen Johnson and Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard and Tariq Stevenson and Kyler Gordon. Frickin' Bears are getting stacked right now. Why not continue to stack and stack and stack Ashton Genty? There's no way he's going to slip past the Bears. Just no way. All right, San Francisco. It's funny, man. I started mocking Ashton Genty to the Bears like 2 weeks ago, and he's everywhere now on everybody's mock to the Bears. Everywhere. It just makes a lot of sense. You know, Ben has seen what Jahmyr Gibbs can do. I think the 49ers, obviously, offensive line is a possibility for them. Their defense obviously needs some playmakers. They've lost a lot of players. A lot of good players. I mean, Deebo Samuel being one. They still have Leonard Floyd, Javon Hargrave, Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Nick McLeod, Malik Mustafa. Really like that kid. Ronaldo Green from last year. He's decent. I think they could use some defensive line help, linebacker, backup help, something like that. And you probably could see. So I think it's too early for a guard. If you're going to take a tackle here, I think it's going to be Calvin Banks. But on defensive line, I mean, right now you have a shot at Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, and Darius Alexander, Michael Williams, Walter Nolan, Shamar Stewart. I think the 49ers would be silly to leave Shamar Stewart on the board. I think they would be silly to do that. But I think that they're going to fall in love with a new linebacker. I mean, we look at the line they have. It's not like they're getting, you know, any younger. They're pretty old. So Jahad Campbell goes to the 49ers. I could see Jelon Walker here. I could see Donovan Ezeraku here. And I could see Michael Williams here. I could see Shamar Stewart here. Pick one. Any one of them. Cowboys. I heard they're gonna draft a ref. My God, all I get is these alerts that the market is continuing to go down and down and down. Not cool. All right, so we got Dak Prescott for the Cowboys, Javonte Williams, CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks, Jalen Tolbert. What did they do today? Cowboys do anything today? I don't remember hearing a whole lot. I know they don't have a ton of money. Got two guys, Javonte Williams at running back and Trent Siege as a long snapper. Doing a whole lot. That's a lot of work, but they did re-sign Osa Odigizua as a defensive tackle. They did re-sign Kevontae Turpin. CeeDee Lamb converted some money into salary signing bonus to give him some money. Dak Prescott converted some money. So really, everything's on the table. I think Dak is obviously going to want. He's going to want another receiver outside of CeeDee Lamb and Brandon Cooks. Those are two really good guys to throw to, but I mean, they do have Jalen Tolbert. I guess it's not all bad. I don't think Javonte Williams is the answer for them. 513 yards last year. There's just not another running back that I would put right here. Maybe the Cowboys trade back. Left tackle Tyler Guyton didn't have a good year last year. Tyler Smith's not good. Cooper Beebe will be great. Zach Martin, I believe, just retired, so they do need a right guard. And you could convert Will Campbell to a guard. I think that is a hard possibility, not a soft possibility that he could get converted because of the short arms. And then you've got Gray Zabel that's on the list. I mean, he absolutely would probably be the best one to take here. But I'm going to go ahead and go I'm going to go Will Campbell conversion to a guard. He could be a tackle, but I think they'll convert him. Or at least attempt to. And if it doesn't work, well, then he's back as a tackle. Miami. They definitely need Tua to stay healthy. And the best way to do that is to bring in offensive line help. Now, their action of the day today, when we look at Miami, were they players or naysayers today? Miami Dolphins, they had one transaction, which was Zach Wilson, who they brought in on a 1-year, $6 million deal. Outside of that, the previous few days, they locked up Kader Kohu as their corner on a $3 million deal. Bradley Chubb agreed to a renegotiated contract. Terron Armstead, their left tackle, reduced his compensation. Other than that, they really haven't done a whole lot. They released some players. They released Mostert. They released Kendall Fuller. So they could use a corner. They could use a running back. They could use just about everything, to be honest with you. I don't think that you can make a bad pick here. But needing a safety, I think that Malachi Starks is an interesting move here. Defensive line, you still have Kenneth Grant and others. Guard, I think it's too early. Get one in the next round. Tackle, yeah, if you go tackle right now, it's Calvin Banks. Back-to-back tackles taken at 12 and 13. The Indianapolis Colts. I'm still sticking with this. I think that it's tight end for them. Colston Loveland makes a lot of sense, but I think Tyler Warren makes a lot more. Falcons. They could use some cornerback help. Let's see who they brought in today. They got Grady Jarrett released. They didn't do anything today. Not a damn thing. Nada. Zip. Zilch. So they need wide receiver, edge, linebacker, corner, according to PFF. If they're going to take a wide receiver, this is a great opportunity to take Emeka Egbuka. I think it's a great option for them. If you're going to take an edge, it's going to be Donovan or, in my opinion, Shamar Stewart. If they're going to take a linebacker, you could definitely get in the game pretty quickly with either Michael Williams or... Goodness, my eyes are bugging out. Michael Williams. I guess maybe he's the only other real option right here. Demetrius Knight, who's a freak of nature. And if you're gonna go with a corner, I'm not so sure that Will Johnson doesn't slip. I think the answer right now is Agamika Ogbaka, or however you pronounce his name, or Will Johnson being the corner that makes a lot of sense here too. All right, we'll take a leap here. We'll go Will Johnson. Cardinals definitely need help on that offensive line and defensive line. I don't think it's any secret. Let's just take a look anyway. They brought in Davis Gaither, outside linebacker, Josh Sweat. So they took care of the defensive line with that. Evan Brown, they re-signed or signed to a 2-year deal. Baron Browning, they signed yesterday to a 2-year deal. So their linebacker room, great. Offensive side of the football, not so great. Guard or tackle here, I don't think that you can pass up the next best one, but he's slipping. But Gray Zabel makes a ton of sense. He just makes a ton of sense, or Josh Connerly, whoever you believe in more. But Gray Zabel, to me, is probably the most pure, gifted athletes for the offensive line. Oh, let's see here. Bengals. Let's see what the Bengals did today. Oh, man, they had a busy day. So they signed Joseph Osayi. It's a good pickup. 1-year, $7 million deal. Oren Burks, 2-year, $5 million contract for inside linebacker. Tadaro Slayton, defensive tackle. They brought him in under a $15 million deal. Brought in a running back, Samaje Perrin. BJ Hill, defensive tackle, signed. Then in the last couple of days, let's see. It was Mike Gesicki, Tanner Hudson for tight ends, and Cody Ford as a guard. So they need some more offensive help. And right now you've got Higgins under a franchise tag. So how much longer are they going to be able to limp that around and not get a deal done? You definitely could see the Bengals go ahead and bring in a rookie here. That's what I'm going to do. Seattle Seahawks. Seattle Seahawks, of course, brought in Sam Darnold on a $100 million deal. Inside linebacker Ernest Jones signed a 3-year, $33 million deal. Jerron Reed, defensive tackle, also signed a 3-year, $22 million deal. Josh Jobe signed on March 6th. Tyler Lockett was released on March 5th. So, wide receivers in need. They've addressed their defensive line and a corner so far. Man, it's edge or linebacker here. If you're still believing in Mike Green, if everything's cleared, this could be a spot for him. Yeah, I'm going to go Jelon Walker here to Seattle. I think this is a good spot for Nick Emanawari, though, too. Just saying. Tampa Bay. So Tampa's got Baker, Bucky, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Jalen McMillan on the offensive side of the football. I think their offensive line is in good shape. Left defensive end, Kalijah Cansey. They still have Vita Vea. I mean, he's got to be getting up there in age. Yaya Diaby. Excuse me. Sorry. There we go. The Seahawks they're built weird. You can't really tell if they got better or not. What did everybody else do? I think this one's going to have to be defensive line. You bring in a rookie that can play behind Hassan Reddick. Learn a little bit. I can't see where Donovan Azaraku or Shamar Stewart or Michael Williams, I can't see, or Demetrius Knight, I can't see where they're not taken in the first round. I'm going to go ahead and go Michael Williams. Broncos. What did the Broncos do today? I thought I heard some late rumblings that there was a trade with them or something. So they picked up Dre Greenlaw, Tylona Hufanga, so they're good at linebacker and safety. Left tackle, they brought in Matt Pearl. He's not the answer. DJ Jones, good contract for him, $39 million. I guess everything I see that they've done has pretty much been, well, maybe it's more split offense, defense, but their defense is really good. Or fairly good, I should say, right now. I think this would be an offensive pick. It could be a running back. It could be a receiver. I mean, how much longer is Mike Evans really going to play? Right, I got the answer. It's going to be Colston Loveland. It's a big reach. You give him a nice tight end, fit into that system with Nix. It'll help him out big time. Or was I doing Tampa? Did I just make the wrong pick? No, I was on the Broncos. Okay. Najee Harris just went to the Chargers. Nice. All right, we're on to the Bucs now. Or, sorry, we're on to the Steelers now. Oh, these Steelers, man. I don't know what they're trying to do today. I can't tell. I mean, did they get better or did they get worse, right? They got Malik Harrison, linebacker, cheap deal. Ogunjobi, better deal, better player. Jalen Warren at running back. That's not the answer. DK Metcalf. That's a huge deal. 4 years, $132 million. Extension with Pittsburgh after the trade. So they have a receiver. I'm not so sure that they have their answer yet. Oh. We know Justin Fields is gone. They still have Russell Wilson, right? Okay. Quarterback, wide receiver, DB. I still have not given Shamar or Sanders to anybody. I guess now I understand why he's slipped. This is where he goes. This is absolutely where he goes. Bang. All right, now we're on to the Bolts. Come on, where's that? Oh my goodness, why is it so hard to find? There we go. Okay, so they brought in Bradley Bozeman today. Tyler Tart. Man, what a good deal for Tart. $5 million to Bucs for 1 season. They brought in Dante Jackson, corner. Khalil Mack re-signed for $18 million on the year. Gus Edwards was released. Joey Bosa was released. So they could use a running back. They could use outside linebacker help. Donovan Ezra-Cow is my guy for the Bolts. Hey, I'm good with all that. You know, let the Chiefs slide. Let them slide. All right, Green Bay Packers. brought in Nate Hobbs. I can't believe they got him for a $16 million guarantee over 4 years. $4 million bucks a year. It's nuts. They brought in Aaron Banks. They also brought in a kicker and Isaiah McDuffie about a week and a half ago. So they need everything. The Packers do. I could see them going Demetrius Knight. I could see him doing anything here. Shamar Stewart, Mike Green, Malachi Starks. I mean, you name it, they can do it. I don't think that they're going to take a center. Not right now. I think their wide receiver room is pretty good. So it's either corner or edge. And I don't know if I have a third corner in this part of the draft. Nick Emanawari makes a lot of sense. I mean, he's a guy that you can platoon out in the middle of the field and just let him be like a rover, you know? He can just literally rover around and be a small linebacker / safety. Man, he makes a ton of sense for everybody. Let's see. I think that they're probably going to stick with defensive line. I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, they could go offensive guard, which is way early. So you've got Nick Scourton, Demetrius Knight, Tyleek Williams, who was one of my favorite workouts at the Combine. Tyleek Williams, Walter Nolan, Darius Alexander, Derek Harmon, Kenneth Grant, Mike Green. Those are all some very big names for them to select. I think we're just going to have to keep it simple here. Give him an edge, Mike Green. Mike Green going to the Green Bay Packers. All right, so next up for the Vikings, they lost out on the Sam Darnold lottery. I still can't believe they let him slide for that, what I consider a little bit of money for a quarterback. Their defense is still pretty stout. I mean, really, really, really good. And they added to that with bringing in a corner and a safety. Yesterday, they re-signed Aaron Jones. All right, defensive line makes a lot of sense here. So it's either Walter Nolan, Darius Alexander, Derek Harmon, or Kenneth Grant, or it could be an edge rusher. When I look at their roster, though, on the edge, you have Jonathan Bullard. You've got Ivan Pace, Blake Cashman, Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Greenard. I can't imagine that they're going to go after an edge here, even though that they'd be stacking on stacking. Last year, they brought in Dallas Turner. They still have Brian Asamoah and Camus Grugier-Hill. They're loaded. They're absolutely loaded. So cornerback makes a lot more sense to me than anything else. They still have Harrison Smith as their strong safety. But Shaquille Griffin, not real sold on him. And Byron Murphy, I thought Byron Murphy was gone. I thought he went somewhere else. Or was that no, that's Cameron Bynum? I think we're just going to go ahead and give them Kenneth Grant. I think he slipped enough. Texans. I think that they need a little bit more protection here for Stroud. They could also use another wide receiver, and Luther Burden is very special, at least so far. I don't see another option here for him. Center or guard you can wait on. Defensive line, I mean, you've got the pick of the litter right now for a good wide receiver in Matthew Golden, or a good wide receiver in Luther Burden, or defensive line all day. You have anything that you want. And since I think their defensive line is better than what people are thinking, I'm going to go ahead and give Matthew Golden. Rams, they clearly have had probably the best offseason so far. They locked up Poona Ford, Jimmy Garoppolo, Devontae Adams, Tutu Atwell. Stafford re-signed, renegotiated. Interesting. Big day for the Rams. I think they're going to want a playmaker, though. I don't know about you guys. I think they're going to want a playmaker. Linebacker or corner. Demetrius Knight makes a lot of sense. Definitely the best linebacker on the board right now. Corner. I don't see another really great corner option here. There could be someone that sneaks in. You could use this Enema Wari. Yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. I think we're gonna go corner, and I think we're gonna go Trey Amos. No, I'm just kidding. I love Trey Amos though. The two best tight ends are off the board. If there was a tackle available, who would it be? It is Josh Connerly. I think that's a great fit. I think he's a hell of a football player, and he's now a Ram. All right, so then we're going to go to the Ravens. They need a wide receiver, tackle, edge, and corner. I think you're going to start seeing a run on edge rushers now. So it's a toss-up. Is it going to be a Darius Alexander? Is it going to, for the defensive line, is it going to be Nick Scorton? Is it going to be Demetrius Knight? No, it's not going to be any of them. I think it's going to be Alec Ionamore. Very talented wide receiver. Lions are up next. Clearly have the pick of the litter. You know that I would trade back in this scenario. But if this were to happen, the Lions would be taking Shamar Stewart. Washington, man, did Washington get really good. Like, they're right now the best team in the NFC. Potentially even better than the Lions. Potentially. Or they have the potential to be, at least. Like, they really went all out today. Man, they picked up Laramie Tunsil, Javon Kinlaw, John Bates, Zach Ertz re-signed, Jonathan Allen was released, Bobby Wagner signed a one-year deal. Okay, so Bobby's coming back, Javon's coming back. I'm sure Washington would love to protect their quarterback a little bit better, but what's better to do? Put Luther Burden on your roster and add a dynamic wide receiver, or, it's a really deep class and edge, and there'll be some corners in the second round, so you might as well wait. Buffalo Bills, they had an interesting day. I don't know how prosperous they're going to be just yet. But they brought in an outside linebacker. They brought in a receiver, Josh Palmer. Josh Allen obviously renegotiated his deal the other day. Von Miller was released. So wide receiver, defensive line, linebacker, it all makes sense. I think Demetrius Knight is probably the best overall player on the board right now with Nick Scorton. But you can't pass up a guy like Derek Harmon, Darius Alexander, Walter Nolan. Same thing for Kansas City. I don't think that they're going to let any of these really good football players pass them up. Demetrius Knight. And then Philly. And what does Philly really need? I mean, they are so deep right now. Even with all the players that they've lost and about to lose. So they brought in Dorian Thompson as a quarterback. Zach Bond is re-signed. Saquon Barkley is renegotiated. They really didn't do anything today. They really didn't do a whole lot today. So I'm going to give them, a guard, sure. Too early. Corner, I don't see another one that should sneak into the first round. I mean, Trey Amos could, but you can get him in the second too. Wide receiver makes a ton of sense. So does edge. Obviously, Nick Scorton. And that's it. That's my mock for tonight. It's a little bit chaotic. Just because we don't know what we don't know right now. We still got a lot of action to get into. Let me download this so I don't forget it. We got a lot of action to get through over the next couple of days. So that's it. That's Mock 4.0 with Will Rock. Rocks, locks. We'll see how close they come. Next week is going to make a lot more sense. We're going to get into a 3-round draft next week. And then every week from here on out, we're going to increase a round. And then we might even do a little bit of double time. I want to get my final mock out at least a week before the draft. So I'm not messing with it, so I can just get on the road and get up to Green Bay and settle in. If it's nice out, I might go camping up there. I might just bring the truck and just go find a nice campsite and go camping up there for that week and just relax. You know what I mean? Get my credential and relax. So, all right, let's get it done. We'll see you guys back here tomorrow morning on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Appreciate you hanging out tonight for Will Rock's Mock the Draft number 4. We'll catch you guys in the next one.